y'all? Welcome to another review by Ryan, and a very happy Wednesday to all of you. It is Wednesday, May 24th, and I hope you all are doing well wherever you're at in the world at the time you find this reaction. First, before we start, I want to give a big thank you to all of you who came out to Anime Central this past weekend. Myself, the entire staff, and con operations team are truly thankful from the bottom of our hearts for you attending our event this year. We had an amazing turnout. We did make an attendance milestone for the event, and I just want to tell you personally that all of the international seiyus in particular that did attend this year really loved getting to meet many of you. You guys were the absolute best. You followed our rules. You followed everything that needed to be followed, and it made a really great time and experience for everyone. So for myself and really the entire guest relations department, thank you so much for treating our guests with respect and love, and I hope that you felt the same back from them as we really rocked it out this weekend. So, that out of the way, it is time for the 7th episode of Oshi no Ko. And the title of today's episode is Buzz. Last week fucking sucked. And you know, last week was really a harsh reminder of the nature of this show and what story it is trying to tell. Now again, this author, the same author that did Kaguya and several other shows, and again, they've become very well known for having very dynamic and great story writing. They knew what they were doing with this last episode. And in a way, I'd almost go as far as to say that the 6th episode and watching the incredible and unfair demise of Akane's mental state that led to her almost committing suicide off of the bridge she was at over the roadway. I'd almost go as far as to say that it was almost about to be even more emotionally crushing than having to watch Ai's demise back in episode 1. So, I don't know what to say that I didn't already say last week. There were so many failures on so many different levels that led to that happening. Failures from the fans who weren't really fans. Failures from management who should have stepped in the second that things got out of hand. Even threatening, legal prosecution, cutting the show, whatever the circumstance may be. Failures, again, I think I brought up the management, but, failures for her own her individual manager, the one directly over her was fine, but the overarching company, they were just complete, he was just a complete little shithead. And, not thinking about the talent and not thinking about the fact that, she's really been trying her best. And, we don't know her entire story leading up to this, but we do know that a simple scratch of another person on set should not have resulted in cyberbullying to the point of wishing her to die, of wishing her entire existence away. I think I translated one thing they were talking about. They hope that her children, whenever such a time comes, aren't born. And there was so much ugliness that was in many of the comments, including some that didn't get properly translated into the episode because there was just so much nastiness that was happening. It threw me off guard for a moment, I'm going to be honest. I mean, yes, she made a mistake. We know that she was really struggling trying to keep up. The love triangle started. Aqua, he took a step back because he didn't want nothing to do with all that foolishness and just wanted to observe and watch the scene play out, because you already know he can do what he needs to do if he really needs to, but that's not what he was about. We got to see him and Memsho interact a lot, and there were things that happened in the episode that you would not have thought that by the time we got to the end of the episode we were going to be dealing with a damn near suicide. But by the end of the episode, we almost lost our second character of the show. And what was more painful is when I thought about it as the episode went along, I realized almost instantly that the episode was following the story of Hana, and it was bringing that story to the life in anime form, because it was a very necessary story to be told. There were actually a lot of people that did not know about Hana Kimura and what she did and who she was and her very tragic story until this episode aired. And, there were people who were just like, hey, I don't know why they felt the need to go so extreme, having to bring suicide after episode 1 when, we already know that this show is, trying to be dark and show the awfulness that can exist in the entertainment industry. And many people just didn't feel there was really a need for that. But I think there was. I really, really do. I think the fact that the community is talking about this episode now in the way, and that they're both angry, sad, and or crying, whatever the circumstance is with your emotional state, this is the type of conversation that we need to have. And as someone who works with many of these talents that many of you will meet at conventions, and you'll watch their live performances, and you'll hear them voice your favorite characters in different animes, what a lot of you don't understand is that many of your favorite talents goes through this every day. That's why we have management teams that are constantly auditing Twitter accounts. And yeah, let's just get rid of Twitter. Twitter is just a spawn of Satan and shouldn't exist. But many of these individuals, we have managements and moderators that go through those channels, making sure that things are tweaked in just a way that can limit the potential for negative consequences to the seiyus, to the management team, to anyone in general that might be involved. But many times, even with those best efforts, the internet is a really awful place. And because the internet is such an awful place, and because many humans are just fucking awful creatures that will run off their mouth and say whatever they want about a person online because they'll never be held accountable for it, these talents, these talents, both all over the world, not just in Japan, but all over the world, these talents and people who dedicate their lives to our entertainment, they see this shit. They see this shit. They process this shit just like anyone else. Yes, they know they have to have thick skin when you get into the entertainment world, but there's just certain lines that we as human beings should not cross. Just because they're a celebrity, they don't owe us jack shit. And, that's one thing I really want to establish with the end of last episode. And there were so many different stories that it was trying to tell us that they don't owe us anything. They don't owe us jack shit. But we owe them everything. We owe them our respect. We owe them our love. We owe them our appreciation. They've dedicated their whole lives to doing something that many of us would never be able to do. And yes, I'm sure you could say, well, that's not really fair, Ryan. No one told them to go into this and everything. Everyone has a knack for something. And it just so happens in their case, their knack is for entertainment. That doesn't mean they should get cyberbullied all the way to almost jumping off a fucking bridge. But, and yes, they know they have to have tough skin. But we have to be decent human beings and understanding that the people that we see on television are portraying fictional characters and fictional things. But that these are real human beings at the end of the day. And Oshinoko set out to tell a really dark and horrible story. I mean, we even went to seeing, with some of the interaction that Ruby and Kana were having, where they were talking about the landscape of the internet and ego surfing, and needing to be careful about your appearance and how you present yourself, and just the basic 101 on making sure you got to navigate really carefully, because you make one wrong mistake, that's it. And as we saw with Akane, unfortunately, she went to apologize, and that's all that they needed. That was the fuel that was needed to lead us to the absolute awfulness that transpired by the end of the episode. So there's just so much to unpack with the last episode. But many of us have already discussed this. I've participated in various deep dives about this conversation, and thank you for everyone who has participated. That might have been in my channel that we discussed in great details the different elements of last episode. I'm just anxious to see where we're going to go from this point now that Aqua has, rescued Akane, and hopefully he will help lead her on a better path than she was about to be, and they'll be able to ultimately deal with the cyberbullying as we proceed through the second half of the season. There is something very important that I did want to say too, and this might drag this first segment, so if you don't want to listen to this, please skip to the reaction, but it's very important that I bring this up. Obviously, not everyone received last week's episode positively. And by positively, I mean in the way that it was designed. And one of the biggest names that showed their disgust and anger about last week's episode was none other than Hana Kimura's mom. She saw the episode, and she knew instantly that the episode was directly about her child. And she did release a post, I believe it was on Twitter, and she was heartbroken by the episode. And while I want to say that this does not take away from my rating of the show still remains the 20 out of 10 that it has been. I will say if the author and the management did not, seek that permission out first, that was definitely a mistake. These type of sensitive nature stories, even if you're not showing the actual face of a character, but you're using that story, that can easily be perceived as using something for entertainment purposes and to make profit off of it. Obviously, that is kind of what happened, because people who haven't talked about Oshinoko since episode 1 are talking about Oshinoko again, and it's brought everyone back to the table. And while I do believe it was an absolutely critical story to tell, I feel that it was very, very important to emphasize this story to the community, because a lot of people think that this shit doesn't really happen, but it really does. I also do believe that we have a responsibility to be sensitive and to be understanding and to seek those permissions before we actually go portraying a story that chapter by chapter could be considered to be a similar story to what happened in real life. And, I genuinely do not believe that the author or the production team had any intent to cause mental anguish or harm to Hana's family. I genuinely don't. I remember it, but that is still fresh in everybody's mind. I remember watching the aftermath of the funeral, and when her mother, I'm thinking about another person that we recently lost. So sorry, I'm going to stop myself right there. But I do remember there were some screenshots that showed in the aftermath and the funeral and everything that happened, and her mother was devastated. And so I can only imagine that if she was not aware of this episode and the fact that this show even existed and was going to be talking about that story, she has every right to be angry and frustrated at the production studio. So, I do hope that there will be an apology that will happen behind the scenes between this production studio, the author, and the family. Again, my heart continues to ache for Hana's loss, because it was awful and it should not have happened. It never should have happened. It never should have went down that way. But regardless of that, and regardless of the fact I understand parts of the community does feel a certain way, I do still very well feel that this was a necessary topic to touch. And it's one of the reasons why I believe that Oshinoko is still going to end as my top entertainment-based show, because it's touching on subjects that we as the community have avoided for so long, and it is time for us to actually talk about, discuss, and look at how we can be better as human beings so that we don't result in these type of things happening in the future. So the last thing I do want to say is the rating checkup. And as of right now, Oshinoko does remain above a 9. It did drop another 0.01. Oshinoko is now in the number 12 spot on Mal with a 9.02 rating. So that's everything I had to say. A lot to talk about. I'm sure I'll have a lot to talk about at the end of the episode as we see the events unravel after what just happened last episode. So give me a moment to get the episode pulled up, and when I come back, we'll get this reaction started. All right, guys, I am back, and it's time to get this episode started. Again, this is episode 7 of Oshinoko, and the title of the episode today is Buzz. Let's get this started in 3, 2, 1. And I can't catch myself slipping on this show anymore. Now that they've chosen to go the way they did with Akane, there's no way. We can't take anything for granted anymore. Anytime there's a settled, calm moment of this show, I just expect it's going to go to hell in the very next scene. One of those things where you can't let this opening song fool you. And of course, if you understand Japanese and you know the lyrics to the song, then it won't fool you. My thing, though, is for Aqua. You know he's going to use this as more fuel to the fire that he already has as he's still trying to get revenge for his mom. Actually, he's definitely going to use this as fuel now. That man is probably beyond angry now. I'm so happy he was there. Thank goodness. Oh, Minto was looking. Oh, I'm. We got. Damn, we got lucky. So it wasn't. We just got lucky. But that did not mean that she should get butchered like that. Even you know that. Yeah, I mean, I get it because she's a lot more strong than. I'm sure she went through this quite a bit too when she. Yeah. Yeah. Because I'm sure you wouldn't handle it well either. Oh, man. Even her eye got a little bit darker there. I just don't like reality shows altogether. And even Aqua realized that they're actually more true about their emotions than what he originally thought. So did I. See, and I can definitely think that Kana went through that quite a bit throughout her entire time getting back up to this trying to rebuild, since she lost good graces too. Oh, that's a word to use. Is she going to bring her there? Arrested. But it's not what you think, though. That show broke her. You were in the right place, man. You did well. We just got lucky. We just got lucky. You did. Oh, oh man. After something like this, fuck that contract. You gotta take care of yourself, my girl. The fact that you were willing to kill yourself over this, you gotta take care of yourself, my girl. I know Yuki feels awful, because especially there was so much sadness in that slap. All right. Yeah, at least now they know things are this bad, they'll hopefully protect her moving forward. You and me both. Exactly. That's exactly the fuck I was saying. And one of the commenters also said that on my video. They did not stick up for her whatsoever fucking ever. That's why I definitely will say that the whole me saying the internet's awful is only 50% of the problem. I tell you, the media is something else. I know. I work in it. Oh, what is Aqua gonna do? Yeah, and that's probably gonna be for an unlimited amount of time. Also, yes, I'm still emotional. I just realized he's the one that's riling this all up with the article and everything now. I tell you, Aqua's always thinking 3 steps ahead, though. We'll see how this plays out. Hundred or so. It does to me too. Fit the narrative that they want. Yep. He's going to counter the management themselves in the process. Since I don't think they even remotely apologize for all this even leading to this point. I fucking love Ninja. Which it should be very simple and straightforward. Just be decent people. But I tell you, we literally look at these people who do this for our entertainment as literal gods. It's so unhealthy. Her with these Batwings. I swear. Hey, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of leave it to the one who literally has the personality online. They're literally gonna do a production to overwrite the production that already exists. Exactly. But you know damn well they're gonna try to pull it out eventually. Bro, he about to beat their ass. Y'all better stop playing with my man Aqua. As it should be. As it should be. And again, I still don't think they realize or remotely care or are going to apologize about anything. Yeah. Like, y'all knew who y'all were dealing with. I'm going to talk about all this later because, yes, guys, I understand the nature of what all this is. So, and of course, because he was reborn, he would know. Oh, wow. And his eye went back to normal. Bro, you just got your life back because he was about to take it from you. Is he going to give it to him? You know, these guys are all right, though. You never know how you're going to feel about people on these type of shows at first, but they really have come through after everything went down. And I'm glad he was able to get what he needed from the other producer. Yo, I feel that. Take a kill, my bad. Oh boy. It's looking very good. Like, literally, I've only been there 30 seconds. Thank you. Knocking two birds with one stone. Dealing with the really awful audience and getting her back where she needs to be. You're going to be alright with them. I'm glad this was a good cast. Because these have been bad people on the set, this would have all ended so much differently. Actually, Akane would have never been here anymore. And I don't think any of y'all are legitimate, are genuine though. So fuck y'all. I still don't like y'all. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's so much about her emotions that she's had to deal with too while she's been gone. Because we still have to understand that we literally saw this girl nearly want to end her own life at the end of the episode. So it's going to take some time. Yeah. She yeah. Me. I'll talk about that later too. Yeah. I'm so happy you're still with us, my girl. Oh my goodness. I'm about sick of y'all. I'm about sick of y'all. Hi, of course. I mean, that speaks for itself. Let's stop being silly here. I'm so sick of y'all. I don't think he's ever really going to be able to move on. Nor will we. She got the pad out and everything. 1,000%. Oh. Oh, Akane. Oh, my girl. You're going to be alright, my girl. Yeah. Hey, but calm your eye down. You know that she means well, my dude. You saved her after all. It's going to be alright. Oh, man. I kind of don't want none of y'all falling for this man, though, because this man's on a whole other mission. Oh, no. What if she digs it up? I mean, for her, lies are the greatest truth. Wow. Wow. I think he's incredibly smart. Almost creepy smart, to be honest. Wow. You need to be a freaking detective. Jeez. Wow. I wouldn't have stayed either. I'm with you there, but I get in her situation at all. You know, this girl keep throwing out these words today. You didn't cause no fucking... I'm gonna be quiet. You don't need to make up for nothing. I don't look forward to working with them. I hope they all piss me. Ryan, be quiet. You're gonna be all right, though. You sure? You a strong. Whoa! Whoa! Is she about to? Stop! Stop! Wait just a damn minute! Yo! Wait just a minute! Wait, she got the look! She got the... Yo! Yo! Let's go, Akane! Oh my goodness! I didn't realize she was actually gonna get that enough to get the eyes, but she did break it down. She was studying everything about her mannerisms. Oh shit! Oh man! She really is gonna break into her own persona, her own character, like they told. Alright. I will say she's mostly recovered. Wow, I did not see us getting the eyes. Oh man. Oh man. What a 180. I'm rooting for you, my girl. She literally wants to become that ideal girl. She literally is about to be. Is that why some of you were saying that literally I could be considered as reincarnated as Akane? Oh my goodness. Because I had seen that in some of the almost spoiler chats, but oh man. Wow. And so now her story begins anew. If only you could see how much of an influence you left on the entire entertainment world. Just gone way too soon. Okay, guys, so a couple of thoughts here. I talked a lot at the beginning, so I'm going to try not to talk too long here, but, you know, you never know. This type of show can kind of cause a lot of dialogue. All right, so obviously we saw the immediate aftermath of Akane attempting suicide and Aqua rescuing her, and then the aftermath at the police station, and you know, you really felt the anger of frustration in that slap from Yuki because she's scared the living shit out of her. You know, it was clear that the people that she's on cast with truly care and in a way love each other. And I will say that, you know, as much as I don't like reality shows, it is true that there are many people that participate in reality television shows that will become friends after that set is over, and in some cases they will become good friends, best of friends, and they might actually hook up in real life. And so it is very possible that you end up with a cast like here. Now, I will say it tends to go both ways sometimes. You know, this could have been a situation of where one person could have rescued her in the case Aqua saving her from her own demise, and then she could have went back and then they could have crucified her and actually shunned her away, and they might not have done even any of the efforts that they just went through to be able to save her public image online, along with creating a new persona for herself. So I'm really proud of the entire cast. I'm proud of every single one, both the men and women that are on this cast. They really came together with, of course, Aqua being at the lead and coming up with this ingenious plan of being able to get the raw footage that is not supposed to be given. But again, Aqua will get what he wants either way, because Aqua's not playing with these fucking people no more. But I do like that they immediately went after the immediate slap and the aftermath and all the crying that played out at the station. You know, Aqua brought it up, and this again reiterates what I was saying at the end of my video last week, and another comment that I got in my video in my episode 6 reaction, where one of you, I guess you might have thought that I was just solely putting accusation against the internet and I wasn't putting the accusation everywhere where it needed to be. And I do want to reiterate again, no, please do not misunderstand. I mentioned this briefly in my last video and I'll repeat it again. There were so many layers of failures that caused us to be at this state where Akane almost jumped off that damn bridge and killed herself. A failure of the management of the production, a failure of her individual management, not her person that's over her, but of the higher person that is part of the company that she's a part of. A failure of the fans, people who thought they were fans, a failure of human beings just showing good human decency. There was failures on so many parts, but since at the end of the day, it is a management job, it's the production team's job to deal with people that are on their set that may be getting directly harassed or threatened. They failed her. They failed her miserably. And as the one dude that was talking to Aqua said, at the end of the day, that's not their fucking problem. They signed a contract. They waived their rights away. They understand that once they get on set and they make their first presentation, that it's not all going to be roses. And Akane herself, I'm sure she knew that. But again, she's never actually gone through this mass crucifixion like what she went through in the second half of last week's episode. For someone like Kana, she can say what she says because I'm pretty confident, even without us having to go back in time and see that, she definitely went through that. Once her child actor days were over and through that 10-year gap leading up to them being in high school and now really starting to actively pursue what they want to do in their careers. I'm sure there was no shortage of her being crucified because she really made a piss poor name for herself amongst her peers, amongst management, and probably on the online spectrum too. And now, even though she is known as the former genius child actor, she's had to start from square one and build herself back up. And one thing I will say is I continue to respect and be thankful for the fact that Kana has humbled herself to the fact that these things can happen and that if you're a weak-natured person in this type of stuff, unfortunately, you will not survive. Now, one thing that's for sure, and I'm sure that some people might have listened to how she was talking as if she wasn't really being sensitive to Akane. And yes, I will say that Kana can come off as a bit of a stern person, but again, she has a really, really interesting mouth on her. And it's a lot more subtle than it was before, but sometimes it can come out. But she means well. I know she means well. And I know that she cares about the people that she sees around. Everyone was absolutely upset and devastated at what Akane was going through, but I, in a way, am in agreement with Kana. I personally, if a community had drove me to the point of wanting to jump off a bridge, I would leave that community. I would not stay with that community. That community doesn't mean anything to me. But I think that because of the immediate reaction that they came to the police station and that immediate slap that Yuki gave because she was so angry and so frustrated and irate that she didn't confide in her, that, she didn't talk to her. I really think Yuki truly does love Akane, that she loves who she is. She wants to be close, and she wants Akane to understand that everything that happens on this set is just that. It's just a show. It's a fictional production meant to induce this fictional narrative to the community. But in real life, she respects and has great admiration for the effort that she goes through to present herself, to make herself ready for anything that may be thrown at her. And I think most of the cast share in that sentiment too, and Aqua himself shares in that sentiment. So, I'm definitely glad to see how that wrapped up. I'm glad that they had her back, and I'm really glad, thanks of course to the efforts of Aqua, that we were able to save her image for the most part in the online spectrum, and she was able to decide and she was able to commit to rebuilding herself, rebuilding her brand. In a way, that's really what it was. Rebuilding a new image for yourself, rebuilding your brand, making something that's very unique to you. Now, how do I feel about the revelations as we got to the end? And obviously we saw Akane completely investigate into the full scope of who Aqua's ideal female is, his ideal girl was, and seeing her show up and have that glimmer, that swagger in her eye. I'm speechless in a way because I didn't see that shit coming at all. And many of you have been asking. I have a good friend in real life that actually is just like, so is Akane your best girl yet? And I'm just like, no, it's still Kana. And then after this episode, is Akane your best girl yet? And I know I'm going to be asked that, and I'm going to be sitting here like, please let me live my greatest life and leave me alone right now. Because in fairness, I'm with Aqua. My best girl will always be I. It will forever be I. That will always be my best girl. But I obviously have a very deep attachment to the successes and failures of Akane. I do. And I like I told you guys, you know, when it comes down to it, no matter who ends up being my secondary best girl, because everyone's only going to be a secondary best girl, I want to see happiness and success for our entire cast. And now I'm rooting for everybody on that reality show's cast. It's clear that these guys and girls have a good head on their shoulder. You know, they want to look out for each other, and they've put up a persona, and they understand the task at hand, but they also understand it's just business. And obviously with Akane's recent scare, they're going to have to look out for each other a little closer, and I think that they're going to really come through and show up and show out. And I just want to, again, really commend everyone for really coming through for Akane, because you know, even though she survived the suicide attempt, it's possible that if she had ran back into a bad situation all over again, she might not have survived a second one. So, you know, that's my initial thoughts about this episode. I really am satisfied with the conclusion to that, and I'm very anxious to see how Akane is going to go, because I'm wondering now if she's just going to have the eye the entire time now. Like, she's just going to have that swagger in her eye, or if that's only going to be something that we, the viewer, will see when she's operating on set, when she's operating with the cameras. And, you know, my biggest thing is there can only be one eye. And so I don't want Akane to, you know, 100%, you know, feel that she has to be that. But I also believe that this is going to be a lot better for her than she's been now. And I'm interested to see where this goes. And as you guys saw from how Aqua reacted, he did not see that coming. So, you know, is there now a threat in place for Kana? Well, I'm going to be dead honest with you guys. I don't think Kana stands a chance. And it's not because I don't love Kana. I know that she has genuine emotions, and I think that he genuinely respects Kana too. But you know, I've been feeling this way, and I told you I didn't want to jump to romantic conclusions yet, because that isn't this type of show. People want to keep jumping to romantic conclusions, but there's a much deeper plot at play here than just romance between one character and another character. And so, you know, I'm not even going to jump and say that I think Akane is going to have a chance, but I will say, if she truly gives off this demeanor of being a girl that's going to be very similar in character to what I was and the lies that I shared with the world, then my boy gonna have to stay focused, because Akane might have his heart fluttering maybe just a little bit, just a tad bit. So, but yeah. And I want to give one more shout. I know I gave a really big shout out to the entire cast, but as far as our secondary cast is concerned, I really do want to give another big shout out to Yuki. She really came through. Again, I've said this several times this episode, she loves the hell out of Akane. She wants her to be happy. She wants her to be successful. She looks up to her. She's a really good person. And as far as the secondary cast of characters, and what I mean by that is characters that were not part of the initial opening main cast, I think she is a wonderful and a great addition to this show, and I do look forward to seeing a lot more of her too as things progress. So with that said and out of the way, that concludes this reaction. I thank you all for watching, and the last thoughts that I want to say, and you know, I want to go back to what I talked about in the first half of the video in regards to the controversy regarding the last episode and the suicide attempt, and the people who are now wanting to cancel the show because of this. Now, I will say we have seen shows get canceled for accidentally making mistakes like that. And you know, I said in the first segment that, you know, if they truly did not give permission to show that segment and they didn't talk, which it's clear that they did not, you know, it would be in the best interest that a genuine apology is given. Even if it's felt that an apology is not necessary, and even if I feel that this was a very necessary topic to tackle, I do believe it is the right thing to apologize. I would like for them to be able to do that, and I don't want the show getting canceled for something like that, because this show is really tackling really hard conversations about entertainment and showbiz that I'm really happy we're getting to see in this type of medium. I think it was just poor decision making when it came to not looping them in and not letting them know, the family and those know, that this was going to be a segment. Now remember, the source material has actually been out for a little bit, but I'm sure that the only reason that they will now know about it is because when things get bought in anime form, you know, there are a lot of things that people find out then and are just like, oh shit, I didn't know this existed. We would have never allowed this. And I'm pretty confident if that had been dealt with before the anime came out, then we probably would not, there would have been adjustments made to this episode. It's kind of too late to make adjustments now. And again, it was a 10 out of 10 episode, but it was tackling something that was very sensitive. And, you know, someone did lose their child at the end of this. So, you know, I'm very sensitive to that particular aspect. And, you know, I want to say, you know, some of my favorite shows of all times are controversial shows. One of the most recent shows that have joined my top 20 list that is also an equally controversial show is the Made in Abyss series. Probably one of the most controversial animes in history. But, you know, I feel that when people go big and are willing to take these ambitious chances with a show that can either make or break it, I feel that it really shows the creativity and the beauty and the horror that can exist in the anime spectrum and the stories that it can actually bring to real life. And so, you know, I really don't want to see Oshinoko get canceled for something like this. I understand the sensitivity of it, but I genuinely do believe that this is the best entertainment show that has tackled these subjects that we've ever gotten. And I do want to see its continued success to the end. So that's everything I got for you today. Thanks a lot for joining me. If you did like the video, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. And if you want to be one of the first to be notified when a new reaction becomes available, hit the bell icon. So glad to be back with you again. And I will see you guys next Wednesday for another episode 8 of Oshi no Ko. Until that time, catch you later.